Hi, I'm Lisa Sarjays, author of Diary of a Fat Girl, How I Lost 140 Pounds, Overcame Binge Eating Disorder, and Learned to Love Myself After Weight Loss Surgery. I don't love myself 100% yet, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Well, how can we learn to love ourselves when we have a very distorted definition and example of what love is? So if you're watching this video, chances are you were raised by a mother who suffered a mood disorder or was emotionally immature or was an addict and did not give you the nurture and attention you required in order to form a healthy self-image, healthy self-worth, healthy self-esteem. My mother, she's not a warm woman, but she can be kind. She has her moments of kindness. She has a lifetime of animal rescue. She's always been very charitable, collecting clothes and things for the poor. I know this might be part of her narcissistic persona, but she did do good. She's very thoughtful. She's a gift ninja. You mention something once and she remembers it, and the next occasion you get it. So there were a lot of very generous behaviors that she's still like that. And then there's the abject freaking evil, spite, letting my father sit alone. He was unconscious in an emergency room for 4 hours before even telling me he was there. I don't want to make a list of her horrible and many I don't even know what to call them, crimes against humanity. But as a mother, I was a little extension of her. And yes, my parents were good. There was always a roof over my head and food on the table, and I had clothes, and I had nice toys, and my own bedroom. There were many of the trappings of a very happy childhood. But my parents constantly bickered and fought. My mother was relentlessly critical of my father and of me. Feelings didn't matter. Well, her feelings mattered, but none of ours did. I mean, look, if psychological abuse weren't real, then why are millions of people in this country, let alone the world, how come they're suffering from mood disorders, depressive disorders, and taking how many, pills from the little amber bottles for depression and anxiety and psychotic issues that came from, that originated with our childhood? Maybe it's time we start talking about parenting and how to do it, or how to recover from it when we were the children of these people who did not nurture and attend to our feelings and a healthy psychological growth. Being constantly criticized, having her compete with me, be jealous of me, control my food intake, control my social life, not letting me play with other kids, giving me hand-me-downs to wear. Like I said, yes, I always had clothes to wear, but many of them were ill-fitting hand-me-downs. She was raised during the Great Depression, and new clothes are seen as a luxury. Constantly being put down, having her be too busy or disinterested to come and see me perform in the concert choir, or even to give me a compliment that wasn't. The way she compliments is, "Oh, well, you're good at this, but that's because I was." It's always a deflection. And yeah, maybe as adults we can make more sense of this and be like, well, that's just her personality disorder talking. But when we're little, we think the way mommy and daddy treat us, when they say they love us, that's the definition of love. And then we wonder why, as adults, we end up in abusive relationships or in relationships with addicts and alcoholics, being codependent. It's because that was the example that was set for us. My mother wasn't a warm, cuddly woman, but she told me she loved me all the time and still does. Lisa, you're the most important thing in the world to me. I love you. And then behaves in such a psychologically damaging, abusive way. Rewriting history. I never said that. You're making that up. Or why are you being so dramatic? Or, my feelings never mattered. My father's feelings, nobody's feelings matter except hers. Withholding attention, withholding money, constantly berating. When I went to get my knees replaced, she's telling me, oh, I don't know why you're bothering to do that, Lise. They're only going to wear out again. What's the point? No surgeon in his right mind is going to operate on you. Good thing I wrote down some of these things. She's 93. I'm trying to redeem her in my mind before she leaves this earth. And then I look at my old blogs. I'm like, oh my God, how did I survive this? But when somebody tells you they love you, and then they treat you like garbage, or are unkind to you, or demean you, or beat you, or control you, and it starts out because of how we experienced love in our childhood, we have to relearn the definition of love. How do you do that when you're middle-aged? How do you relearn love when you're middle-aged and you have just a chorus line of kicking narcissists and borderlines and abusive people in your past? I have plenty of them. Many of them, most of them were friends. And then a couple of boyfriends in there. But how do you find peace? If you're not religious, I don't know what I could recommend except to find a community of people who believe you and support you. Learn to love yourself. I'm actually developing a course. It'll be on Udemy. I'll let you know. That will involve some very practical steps for self-care and developing self-love. And if you are spiritual in any way, that has got to contain the answer. Because what could possibly be more reassuring than steadfast, faithful, unconditional love? We crave it. Now, Sigmund Freud says just because it's wishful thinking doesn't mean it's not true. So if I talk about God, I even talk about the Blessed Mother. I went to say Rosary today with a group, and I thought, oh, thank God. Thank God for the Blessed Mother, because mine fell short. To know that we were created out of love, and that God will not abandon us. God's there, guiding us, giving us clues, dropping clues. If you're watching this video, you got clues somehow. Whether you believe it's divine intervention or your karma or your intellect, something brought you to these types of videos looking for answers, guidance, reassurance, and now you're getting it. It was not your fault. It was not our fault that we were little kids who needed love and attention, to not be made to feel that we were a burden or in the way.